Okay, what's up? We're here live at the Sub-Junior and Junior World Championships in Romania, and we are going to be starting today, day 6 of these World Championships, which it feels like it's been a month. I don't know about you, Kellen. I've got Kellen Myers here with me, the Sub-Junior super heavyweight superstar on the equipped side. If you don't know, these World Championships are the biggest that have ever happened. There's over 650 lifters. There's over 55 countries. It's been extremely exciting. We've completely wrapped up the equipped side of the competition. Yesterday was the first full day of the classic side of this session, and so we're going to get into that. We're going to recap what happened yesterday, where we had Trinity Klinger, Bodie Lacoe, Jessica Haggerty, and Eleni Guerrera. As you know, did you watch the session last night with Eleni and Jessica? It was a fun one, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was super exciting. Obviously, we're really tired because we're burning the candle at both ends, but we're here early in the morning, and we're about to kick off day 6, where we'll have Kyle Nowak. He's a superstar in the 66s. We got Kelsey Scanovan in the 57s, and then the sub-junior equipped classic phenom Eva Polini later on in session 3 with the 63 kilos in the 63 kilo weight class. But before we get into all of that, we haven't really got to give enough love to our equipped men, because if you remember yesterday when we went live on the pregame show, we didn't have the score sheet updated yet, so we really couldn't talk about the numbers too much in detail, what happened with the equipped men. Especially, we couldn't talk about the 120s and the 120 pluses who were in the final day of the equipped side of the competition. So we want to give them a little bit of love here real quick. That's why we got Kellen in here, because he knows everything about the equipped side of the competition. So Kellen, first and foremost, before we get into too much of the nitty-gritty details pulling up the score sheet, what stood out to you about the 120, 120 plus session?
They got some strong squatters. That was for sure. And they had some people that really stepped it up for this from other countries.
Yeah.
Especially in the 120s.
Yeah. There was a guy squatted 400 in the 120s. There's a guy that squatted 405 in the 120 pluses. That's crazy. I mean, have you ever seen stuff like that in person? No. What was it like just kind of being in the mix with all that stuff going on?
Well, it was very chaotic.
Yeah.
Because I was also squatting, so it was moving around, trying to get wrapped, trying to see when I'm up.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's that going on too.
Yeah.
So
you kind of want to watch. You know?
I just got the view from in the warm-up room on the big screen. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool being in there with some bosses. I know everyone knows that I don't really know that much about on the equip side. I know our squad, and we got some absolute shooters and a bunch of cool young kids on our squad, but apparently, I mean, some of these other countries, like the head coach from Ukraine and stuff, these are like legendary lifters in the game, like legendary coaches, legendary lifters in their own right. And it had to just be cool to just be back there with like some of the greats in the sport, walking around, wrapping people's knees and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, speaking of the equipped men, then we want to mention what happened in terms of the final point standing for the equipped men. Oh, world champion in the house. Jessica Haggerty just walked in the room. We'll bring her up here in a little bit, have her talk about some of the classic stuff that's coming up. But getting back to our equipped men, which we keep we keep giving them the short end of the stick here. The classic lifter walks in and we change gears. But also in the on the sub-junior side of it, we had Cale McDaniel in the 120, and we had Kellen here in the 120 pluses. If you don't know, we've had a pregame show but on the day of that you can go back and get a little information about these guys. We also had a live press conference after the session was over. It was a little bit of a rushed one because we had to get to the banquet, but nonetheless, we did have all of them up here talking about their day, recapping their day. So if you're interested in any of their performances in particular, go back and watch the press conferences from what I believe was day 4. I believe it was the day 4 post-competition press conference. You can go check that out and see them there. But anyway, we had Cale in the 120 and Kellen here in the 120 plus on the sub-junior side. Anything you want to say, like briefly, about your two performances?
It was close.
Yeah.
Because we were right there, and we just didn't pull through.
Yeah.
Because it was up to me, Kale, and Ario, and we just needed all of us to just total and score high, but it just didn't come through the way we needed it.
Yeah, and was Ario in the same session as you?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the 105s as well?
Yeah, 105s was also that morning.
Okay.
They were the first session.
Okay, oh yeah, they were in the morning session. Okay, yeah, exactly. All right, and that's when Chase Lawton and
Yes.
Bailey McKenzie were in that session as well. All right, cool. So, yeah, Rio bombed out, but so Kale, he mentioned that it came down to a really close battle with Kale.
Yeah.
Kale finished tied for first and then lost on body weight. So he totaled 717.5, same as the first place finisher. It's got to feel bad to lose on body weight. It's something so close like that. And he missed one bench where he went up 10 kilos. If he had gone up 2.5, but hey, hindsight's 2020.
Ario bombed out, but we all just lost it at the end, just barely.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And then what about your performance? I mean, it looks like on bench is where you only made one lift where you could have added some kilos.
Yeah, bench, my shirt wasn't fitting right, and I was very surprised because bench has been my best lift this whole prep. I haven't had really any good prep for anything besides bench, but I was very surprised with that. But still went on and pulled for second and got it, but then got overruled.
Yeah, and so it looks like you ended up just losing by 5 kilos, which for super heavies, that's barely anything.
Yeah.
All right, so to kind of recap the final points for the sub-junior men, the sub-junior equipped men ended up finishing in second place overall on team points with 46 points, and they lost to Ukraine, which had 57 points. And they beat Poland by 10 points. So right comfortably in second place. Yep. Not a whole lot of shifting around that could have really happened there in those last sessions, unless you were to go head-to-head and knock off someone from Ukraine. So good job, guys. I mean, that's a very respectable finish. I think for the U.S. side, some of these other countries, Poland, Japan, India, Kazakhstan, they came in really strong. They were ahead for a while. Chinese Taipei were really good in the super heavies on the sub-juniors. So to finish it comfortably in second was a great performance. And then going into the junior men, they didn't do as well. They ended up finishing fifth with 29 points, which was a tie with Poland, which means that it was decided by good lift points. It was either, I think it goes to medal count and then it goes to good lift points, because it looks like the U.S. team actually had higher good lift points. But then they finished in fifth behind Norway, India, Ukraine, and Poland, which are all very formidable. India really stepped up this competition. Yeah. They did really well on both sides. And then if we're looking at best lifters, on the men's side, we didn't get anyone in the top three on either of those. It was Ukraine, Norway, Ukraine for the sub-juniors, and then it was Chinese Taipei, Czechia, and Norway on the juniors.
Yeah, I think Lawson Lilo was up there, though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure on the list. He was I know he was top 10.
Yeah. They're only giving us the top three here, so that's all we can go off of. But yeah, so Kellen, congratulations again on your performance, being a part of a great team. I know you're going to be back again. Either do you have another year?
No.
Okay, so you'll be back as a junior.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, we're really excited to see what you do next and have you back.
Yep.
So, all right, with that, Kellen, I'm gonna have you pop up on out of here. All right, we've got the world champion with us. Jessica Haggerty is back in this room. As we mentioned before, we did press conference after the final session every day, live. We had Eleni sitting here and Jessica Haggerty sitting here about 12 hours ago, doing the live post-game competition press conference. And it was an amazing press conference. I think it was definitely one of the best ones that we've done. It was extremely emotional. Everyone was bawling their eyes out by the end of it. Jessica was basically just breaking everyone's hearts with she wrote letters for her parents, and everyone was crying. Eleni was saying, just singing the praises of all of her friends that were here. It was a very emotional one. We don't have a whole lot of time left on this pregame show, Jessica, but I just wanted to kind of briefly talk about what happened yesterday in just your performance, and just kind of give people like a brief overview of what happened in your session. You could talk about yourself and Eleni.
Okay. Yeah, so during my session, me and Eleni both weighed in light, and we were both like looking forward to kind of having body weight advantage. And then after that, we were just hanging out, fueling up in the lobby. All good mojo. We were feeling great, and once squats started, I was feeling phenomenal, like warming up, and during this whole prep, like squats has been phenomenal for me. I was even like planning on, attempting chipping a world record for my third. Definitely was not in the cards for yesterday. I think just the experience, and like I had so much energy going into it. So I missed my first 2 squats, and I only barely got I got my third, but I almost bombed out on squats because I was just like so far ahead of it mentally that I like forgot to just like chill and like be in the moment, and like I definitely just like rushed through my first 2, and then after that I was like, okay, calm down, like slow your heart rate. I swear my heart rate was like illegal, like it was so high. And I was taking caffeine too. I was like, I do not need this. But Eleni went 2 for 3 on squats. She did phenomenal. Her squats have been so good this prep. Like, she's been sending me the videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this girl is gonna put up some big numbers. Like, just wait. And then for bench, I was excited because bench is like my lift. I mean, I like them all, but bench has been my most consistent. So I was excited to just like hopefully go 3 for 3, and I ended up pulling out with 3 for 3. I did 85 for my third attempt, and it moved good. It wasn't even, in my opinion, it wasn't even an RPE 10. So I'm definitely looking forward to like actually going RPE 10 in a meet because I haven't done it yet. But Eleni, she went 2 for 3 as well. She's got more in the tank, that's for sure. I mean, I've seen her videos. Her bench is there. I'm not sure what happened with that third one. But you know what? Like, she left it with all smiles and a great attitude. And going into deadlift, my mindset towards it is I was like, okay, like let's just go 3 for 3. Like deadlift, let's just make it consistent, because I lost the consistency with my squat, which is not what I was expecting. If anything, I would have expected that from deadlifts, because I switched to sumo this prep, and it was like such an adjustment. Like, I think week 3, I had to walk out after pulling 2 singles. Like, I didn't even do my accessories that day because I was in so much pain. Like, my sciatic nerve was like all lit up because I like had messed up my footing. I like walked out crying. I left the gym, and that felt so horrible to do. But so the prep for deadlift like was a little rough, but once I finally got my groove with sumo, special shout out to Lauren Lent, RG's now daughter-in-law, I think. She helped me sumo like week 5, and it was so helpful. She's awesome. She's a world champ like 2-time. She's awesome.
That's great to have her helping you.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. But I wasn't expecting to go 3 for 3 on deadlift, and I definitely was not expecting to podium in deadlift. I was going into it like, okay, I'll probably take like 4th or 5th, but I ended up taking 2nd, which is crazy to me. And I got a PR. It was like 308. It was 140 kilos.
Wow.
Lenny's deadlift. She
opened with the world record.
She opened with the world record. She was phenomenal. Her deadlift is there. And at the end of the day, I'm so proud of her. She did so good. I was so happy to see that last deadlift overturned.
Overturned meaning she got 1 white light, and then they gave it to her, overturning it as a good lift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. My heart, I was out there crying during the award ceremony because I was like, I wasn't crying because I was happy. I was crying because I was like, Eleni, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted her on that top podium. And like, my heart broke for her, but she did so good. And at the end of the day, she took freaking 2nd after like a bad deadlift day. You know what I mean? Like, what does that say about her as a lifter? Like, that is phenomenal. And that's nothing that she shouldn't be proud of. Like, that is amazing. And like, honestly, like the comeback story from this is gonna be so good. Like,
she still has another year as a sub-junior.
Exactly.
So.
Like, this is her first year. This was, I mean, I started off the competition rough, and she didn't end it on the highest note. At first, I think she's definitely like turned it around, and now she's got like a really good mindset towards it, and like I'm so proud of her. Like, she's phenomenal. But just, I mean, our first international competition, like, it's kind of, you expect it, you know, like people see it all the time, and it's the biggest stage. It's the most demanding judges. They will find the very smallest of things, and
the strictest standard.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if we didn't have some mishaps, honestly.
Well, and I mean, the other thing is, okay, so like, look at your, let's just talk about your 52 kilo weight class just for a second here. We will eventually get to the performances that we're going to see today, give you a little bit of a preview for those. I already mentioned the names. In this first session, if you're going to be tuning in, we're going to have Kyle Nowak in the 66s. And he's a junior. He's nominated first. He's going to probably pull a massive deadlift world record. He's an absolute superstar. Is his last year as a junior. Is going to go out on and get a gold medal, maybe, you know, get a bunch of gold medals. But when we're looking at your performance yesterday, like you said, I mean, you came in nominated in second. You were an Italian sandwich, you know, on the nominations. These Italian lifters are amazing. I didn't really see much of their footage in training. I don't know if they post a lot or not.
They were under the radar.
Yeah, they're very under the radar lifters. We didn't know what to expect from them, but they probably came into this thinking, hey, you know, they're nominated first, then there's a good chance that they're going to win. They didn't know that Jessica Haggerty was going to come in and be so much stronger, right? And sometimes, even if you have a bad day, like in your case, like you left a lot of kilos on squat. Like they still went up from 125 that you missed twice, and then they went up to 130 on your third. So you got 5 kilos extra, you know, but you probably were looking at trying to finish somewhere, like if you're opening with 125, like you're probably going to try to be finishing with at least like 135, you know, something like that, maybe 138.
137.
Yeah,
or 138, I think.
Yeah, something like that was in the works. So you left some kilos out there, and you're thinking, and even I was thinking, because I don't know exactly where the numbers were. I knew these Italian women were extremely formidable, but I remember thinking, like, you know, you miss a couple of lifts and you don't get your squat, and when you're like yourself, where you're approaching the world record, it's gonna be hard to win at that point, right?
Well, and my thing was going into squat is I looked at the board, and I usually don't like watch my other competitors while I'm doing it. I just like to stay in my zone. But I looked at the board and I was like, okay, I think I was the second or third heaviest. I was like down in the queue, you know what I mean? So I was opening like the second or third most heavy, and I saw the two Italians next to me, and I was like, okay, you know, that's fine. Like, Italy always opens heavy. I was like, okay, this is good. I'll get my openers. We'll bump it up. They'll bump it up barely and probably either miss it or have nothing left. You know, so I was like, oh, we're good. I mean.
Yeah, of course. But so what I was getting at was that, you know, even though the Italian lifters, and I think one of them ended up having a pretty good day. She did hit 138.5, which is a world record on the squat. She's a great squatter. You know, she's coming off a world record on the squat, probably feeling pretty good. But what I was getting at is just that sometimes you're just going against someone who's just stronger than you, like substantially stronger. And that's what was happening in the 52 kilo weight class, with you being just the stronger lifter, that even on a bad day, missing a couple squats, starting off a little shaky, you still ended up winning this pretty handily, you know, like 352.5 to 338.5. That's not really that close. If you know powerlifting, that's a 15 kilo win. Like, that's a 52 kilo weight class. That's a very big win. Like, you won quite handily there. So there wasn't a whole lot those other girls were going to be able to do. Even if they went 9 for 9 and you miss a couple lifts, you're still going to win. Now, flip down to the 57s, similar thing here. We have to give a shout out to Chloe Tang. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Chloe Tang is an absolute specimen of a lifter.
She is phenomenal.
Her lifts were extremely clean. You know, she was getting tons of white lights. You know, she didn't. I think she only missed one lift on the day, which was her third squat, which she attempted a world record on the squat. She ended up with a really high bench at 80 kilos, and then she broke the world record, finished holding the world record at the end of the day. on the deadlift, which I don't think anyone expected that to happen.
No.
I mean, because we thought for sure Eleni was going to have a huge advantage on deadlift,
Oh, yeah.
that Chloe was going to have a huge advantage on squat, but Chloe said, oh no, I got a deadlift as well. I can go for the squat world record, and I can also go for the deadlift world record. Like, when you have someone that's hitting the world record level or approaching it on 2 lifts, that is going to be extremely
special.
difficult to beat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with Chloe going in is, like, me and Eleni, we were talking, and, like, we were looking at her post, and Eleni also has friends from Singapore, and the Singapore friends were like, oh, yeah, like, Chloe's deadlift's not nearly where you're at, you know, and, like, they said, like, oh, we saw her in the gym, and she was struggling, she definitely couldn't do, like, 3 reds. Little did we know, like, wow, like, this is not the narrative we expected, but, like, she's so deserving of it, like, knowing Chloe as a person, and even after Chloe was back there giving me and Eleni and, like, a bunch of people, like, gifts, and, like, she was sobbing on the podium, like, it was such a moment to see, and, like, I think it really helped, like, showcase, like, what powerlifting is, and, like, what it means to people, even all across the country. Like, it was so cool to see, and, like,
it really was.
She's phenomenal. Like, no one was expecting that. We just thought she didn't post deadlift because she wasn't proud of it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
little did we know that was her.
And I mean, whether she had posted it or not posted it, I mean, she ended up, like, making, I would argue, a very clean final pull there. That looked like she might have even had some more in the tank if she needed it. Yeah. She was able to pull it, like I said, fairly cleanly. There with the 173, and of course she attempted the world record on the squat as well. So, like, whether she had posted it or not posted it, like, she was basically, like, she was stronger. She was stronger on the day. Yeah. She ended up winning by 28 kilos, which is a chunk, right? That's crazy. That's a big win.
And I believe she got the world record total, right?
Yeah, world record total as well, exactly. So. And the final pulls of that session on the 57s were just electrifying, because we also had Abigail from Canada pull in a world record as well. So
right after she pulled, she was standing next to me, screaming on, like, cheering for Eleni. And like, if that doesn't show what powerlifting is, like, she was literally like, "I love you guys," like, and she was like, "Eleni, you got this, you got this." After she, like, was about to get the world record taken from her, and I was like, "Wow, like, this is awesome."
Right before she went out to hit the world record. So to kind of just give you a play-by-play, it was that Eleni opened with the world record, and then the girl Abigail and also Chloe, neither of them attempted a world record until their final pull. Eleni also, tried to break the world record again on her second pull. She had a tiny bit of up-down motion at the top. It flew off the ground.
Oh my gosh.
Tiny bit of up-down motion, didn't get the lights, couldn't get it overturned. I think there was 3 reds, and so she couldn't get that one overturned to be a good lift. But then after that happened, she hit that's when going out for their final pulls, Abigail is going out to pull a world record 164, which at that point, like I said, 163.5 was Eleni's opener. Abigail pulls 164. Right before she goes out to pull it, she says to Eleni, "You can have it back in just a minute." She's like, "I want to take this world record, but you can have it back." She was like,
"I just want it for 1 second."
Yeah, you can have it back in just a minute. So it was really cool to see. And then Eleni goes out and pulls and breaks the world record. And gets the lift on the board after it was only given one white light on the platform, and then overturned by the jury to be a good lift. And then Chloe goes out and breaks it again. So you see a bunch of world records being broken over and over. It was really an electrifying session. I mean, from your drama in the 52s, and then the 3-way, deadlift world record breaking performances that we saw in the 57s. The Chloe Tang putting on, like, what I would argue is the best performance that we've seen so far at these world championships, sitting in first place in good lifter in best lifter standings right now with a 96 good lift points. Which you start approaching 100 good lift points, you're starting to approach the open division. You're starting to approach the type of good lift points that you'll find in the open world championships. Okay, so the best lifter from worlds this year, I think, won with like a 119, or I think it might have been I think it was Natalie Richards with the 119 or 120, something like that on good lift points. That's the best of the best.
That's insane.
But what I'm saying is a lot of the lifters that were lifting at the open world championships on the classic side were finishing around with like 100 good lift points,
so
maybe like fifth place, for instance, in open is probably finishing with like something like 100, maybe cracking into the low hundreds. Chloe is right there on the brink of that. So if you're Eleni and you're losing to Chloe, I mean, you should not feel bad about that.
No, I mean, like
that's like losing to someone like Natalie Richards or something. It's like, okay, yeah, she's stronger. She's been doing it for longer. She's a year older. You know, her lifts are like immaculate. Like, you'll get there. So don't be too impatient, and just think how cool it is that you had this battle on the biggest platform with someone, Chloe Tang, who's going to be a superstar in the sport. And so Eleni's right there with her.
Like, to lose to Chloe Tang, like, honestly, that's like, it's like a compliment. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's the way
like,
you got to look at it. So, and of course, Eleni is fired up and wants to win. And so, but anyway, we've talked about that session a lot. We also had Bodhi Laco, a little bit of a heartbreaking performance there because his session was just so fast. His flight was so fast. He only had 7 lifters in the flight. It wasn't his day. If you listen to his press conference yesterday, very mature, very professional, and saying basically it just wasn't there today. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud that I came out here and did my thing. I did what I could do. And so hats off to Bodhi Laco. And then we also had Trinity Klinger, who had the whole issue with making weight, but then still went out there.
And she barely even got here.
She barely got here.
Romania,
yeah,
I mean.
she barely, her flights were all messed up. And then she ended up, still hitting the deadlift goal that she had set for herself. So congrats to her.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk more about this stuff, but like I said, we're running behind here. So we got about 8 minutes till this next session starts. So let's talk a little bit about what we have coming up today. So in the first session, we're going to have Kyle Nowak in the 66 kilo weight class. I'm going to pull up the nominations here real quick for Kyle. If you see that and we also have Daniel Harris. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to mention our boy Danny Harris. So in the sub juniors, we got Danny Harris. In the juniors, we got Kyle Nowak. As far as sub-juniors, Daniel Harris is concerned, he's nominated with a 572.5, which is second place, very close to being in first place. The first place total is a 577.5.
Oh,
I know Danny's been here. He's been super hyped. Have you ran into him a little bit?
I have a little bit. He is phenomenal. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, the strength. I can't, like, his bench. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
It's going to be so good to watch. I cannot wait to see how he performs and, like, to see him on the big stage.
Yes.
I haven't seen him ever lift before this. So, I mean, I can't wait. It's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, for sure. For a young man, he's very strong. He's got a big squat. I mean, he's definitely going to be approaching world records, I think, on both squat and on bench and on total. We'll see what happens. Then in the juniors, we got Kyle Nowak. He's nominated in first place by 20 kilos. Not a sure thing for
20 kilos, like, you can make up for.
20 kilos is a lot for a 66 kilo lifter, and I think these numbers are going to go way up for Kyle because his prep has been really good, and he's extremely confident. He's the big dog of the class. He's the big dog of the day. But you still got to go out there and handle business. Like, there are people that can come out of nowhere, and a 20 kilo gap is like comfortable, but
doable.
It's comfortable, but it's like, you still got to execute. So let's see what he's going to do there. He's going to probably pull a world record deadlift, which will be amazing. He's got a huge deadlift on him. And then on the rest of the day, in the second session, we'll have Kelsey Scanavan. She's in 57 kilo lifter in the junior division. What do you know about her?
Oh my gosh. First of all, she's a sweetheart. I just met her here, and I didn't know her before. She's kind of like me. She doesn't post that much, but she is just a sweetheart, and she is ecstatic to just even be here, and like the energy that she brings to the table. And like even yesterday, she was exhausted, and she was out there cheering me and Eleni on the whole time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the support that she brings to the team. And honestly, like, to be able to give back to that today, like, I cannot wait to see her perform. I know she's been in it for like she's been lifting for like 6 years or something. So like, I'm sure that the consistency and the technique is there, and I'm sure that the strength is there. So I have no idea what her numbers are. I haven't even seen the nominations, but like, I'm so excited to see her perform and to just be able to cheer her on, because she's going to do amazing. She's going
to put on a show for sure. She's like one of those super fiery lifters. She's coached by Christina Paraki, who's like one of the most badass women in all of powerlifting. Chrissy Max Power on Instagram, if you don't know who she is. They're both like super intense, like emotional lifters that like get super hyped up. You're going to hear Kelsey screaming and running out there. And then when she celebrates, she's going to be like, and it doesn't matter if she finishes in last place or first place. She's going to bring the exact same type of energy. So we're going to be really rooting for her to do something cool. And then in session 3 today, we'll have Eva Polini. And Eva Polini is the sub-junior superstar that does both equipped and classic. She already competed on the equipped side and made it onto the podium, even though she was nominated in like 6th or 7th. She pulled and made it onto the podium, had herself a day.
She was nominated 6th or 7th.
Yeah, and she finished in 3rd on the equipped side.
Oh my goodness.
Here she's nominated 5th on the classic side. I think she's going to surprise some people because it's a very tight race. If you look at between 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they're only separated by 2.5 kilos total. So 342.5, 342.5, and 340 is Eva.
Nothing's out of.
No, she's right there.
Picture.
Exactly, she's absolutely right there. And then with Eva, what's really cool about her is that she's born in 2007. So
she's young.
She's several
like 15,
years.
16.
She has at least 2 more years left as a sub-junior. Wow. And she's already coming in nominated 5th on the classic side.
Year.
She was at the World Championships last year. I mean, she already has World Championship experience. Like, this girl is going to be a super. Listen, I'm the one who has been saying Jessica Haggerty is a superstar. I'm the one who has been telling everyone that you better be watching out for Jessica Haggerty. And I can tell you again right now, you better be watching out for Eva Polini. Yeah. Like, this is a young superstar in the making. This is her 2nd World Championships, and she still has multiple years left in the sub-juniors. Well, she's going to get some rings when it comes to the sub-juniors for sure.
And the fact that she's able to, like, balance the prep of equipped and classic, like, I need to talk to her because, like, how does she do that? Like, equipped or classic, the prep for it has been so demanding for me, especially balancing, like, my work life and academics as well. Like, how does she balance both? How can she get to the world stage on both? And at so young, like, that is incredibly impressive, and I don't think people, like, appreciate it as much as it needs to be appreciated. Like, that's phenomenal.
100%. And so that's pretty much the pregame show for today. We're going to need to wrap it up there because the lifting starts in about 3 minutes. If you can click the link below, there's a link tree for everything IPF. If you're following on Powerlifting_America on Instagram, we'll post the link to the session as soon as I get down there, get my camera set up and everything like that, so you can follow along. Go out there and cheer on our boys this morning, Danny Harris and Kyle Nowak, and then we'll catch you right back here on our Powerlifting America YouTube account for live press conferences with Kyle, Danny, Kelsey Scanovan, and Eva Polini later tonight. We'll probably have Jessica Haggerty in the audience asking questions from the perspective of the press. And as a bonus surprise feature that we have for you today, as soon as I'm done with this, I already got it loaded up, I'm going to post a recap show and preview show that our special co-host Mike Gold from the podcast has recorded for us. He recorded it in the middle of the night last night in Romania time for us. He did it with one of our new guest co-hosts, Adriana Davis, that we haven't ever had on the show yet, but we've been meaning to get her on the show. They went ahead and recorded a recap show where they talked about the performances yesterday and a preview show what they're looking forward to today. So since it is like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning on U.S. time, on the U.S. time, that we'll go ahead and play that. We'll go ahead and play that now. Hopefully you can watch it in the morning, and then that'll be a good guide for what you're going to see going forward in these World Championships. So with that, we're going to cut this off. You can check that video. That'll be coming up right away on our YouTube account, and then go and tune in for the lifting here at the day 5. Is it day 5 or is it day 6? Day 6.
Day 6
of the Sub-Junior and Junior World Championships here in Romania. All right, peace out. And thank you, Jessica Haggerty, and thank you to everyone out there who's listening to us. Appreciate you. I see you in the chat, Adriana Davis. But yes, we got some static going, but we'll get that figured out. So, all right, thank you very much. And check out the video from Mike Gold and Adriana Davis that I will post as its own separate YouTube video now. Boom. Good job.
All right.
Shoot.